Deep beneath the earth, the man and his dogs nestle in the warm, secretive bunker. Just as the oil lamp flickers to life, wild animals outside begin sniffing, lurking near the fragile, camouflaged entrance. Follow his journey of building this secret shelter and subscribe if you share the same passion for wilderness survival. At dawn, he shoulders his heavy backpack and treads up the snow-dusted slope. Each step on the frozen ground is a small battle against the cold, an effort to maintain his core temperature in the solitary wilderness. After the long trek, the man lowers the heavy backpack and spreads out the tarp for the small dog to rest. That brief moment of relaxation helps him recover his spirit. Without delay, he begins scouting the terrain with his shovel. He uses the tip of the shovel to lightly dig into the barren mound, checking the soil's moisture and composition. This is a necessary step to find building materials or a new location for a strong bunker. The decision is made. He dedicates all his strength to digging the bunker. The shovel continuously rips through the earth, tossing heavy red soil clumps. The struggle is evident on every muscle, but he needs to dig deep to secure a more stable temperature. While he works, the dogs silently patrol the snowy hills, ensuring the safety of the work site. Utilizing the remaining moss, he tries to assess the direction of moisture to guide his excavation. He finishes the main excavation and immediately shifts into preparation mode. He cuts dry branches for structural supports and carefully gathers dry grass for insulation for the bunker floor. While he works, his loyal dogs sniff along the hillside. They detect the tracks of a wild hare. Instantly, he uses sticks and dry grass to set up a small snare near the animal's trail, hoping to secure precious food. The man prioritizes creating safety for his companions. He uses a tarp to shelter the small grass lean-to for the dogs, leaning his large backpack against it as a wind barrier. Once they are settled, he returns to the main pit. He digs deeper, starting to bore horizontally into the earth wall, creating an entrance and a sleeping niche. Although digging deeper into the earth is doubly difficult, it is the only way to construct a truly windproof and heat-retaining shelter. He strives to refine the interior space of the bunker, using the shovel to scrape clean and level the floor. A sense of satisfaction creeps in as the subterranean architecture slowly takes shape. Looking back from afar, his solitary creation is just a tiny scar on the vast hillside. Solitude is something he must accept. He knows he has little time left. Sharp ice crystals have already covered the branches, signaling that a dangerously cold night is imminent. Having completed the sleeping niche, he moves on to building the safe heating system. He digs a deep, narrow trench right in the center of the floor. This will be the fire pit that retains heat all night. Then, he begins boring a small, round hole higher up the wall to serve as a smoke vent. This is a vital survival detail to stay warm while preventing suffocation. He must ensure the vent functions efficiently. He completes the escape tunnel and crawls out through the narrow exit himself. He pushes his head up through the snow layer, checking the surrounding camouflage. The escape route is covered by dry branches, perfectly hidden on the hillside. This is the ultimate level of security. Immediately afterward, the small dog confidently runs back up the dark tunnel, signaling that the subterranean survival bunker is officially complete. Time is running out. He focuses on completely camouflaging the main entrance, turning the bunker door into an invisible void between the snow and dry grass. Then, he returns inside to dig a deep, compact hole in the corner of the wall. This pit will act as a natural refrigerator, a place to store water or preserve food. Every detail is optimized to prepare for the long, cold night ahead. With the storage pit completed under the watchful eyes of his dogs, he moves on to carving the final details. He bores a small niche in the wall for a storage shelf, then scrapes the fire trench clean. The fire trench must be deep to hold coals and maintain stable heat for the bunker. Finally, he stands up, breathing a sigh of relief. The excavation work is complete, ready for the challenges of the winter night. He compacts the steps and sleeping platform inside the bunker, ensuring all surfaces are stable and prevent collapse. After finishing the interior work, he quickly climbs out and digs a deep, vertical trench near the entrance. This is the fire's air intake vent, a technical detail that helps create strong convection. Ensuring the airflow works, he and the dog leave the construction site, continuing to search for dry firewood on the hillside. He concentrates on collecting flat stones from the hillside, carrying them back to the bunker for paving the hearth and reinforcement. After finishing, he carries a waterproof bag and heads with his dogs across the dry grassland to find a water source. Ice has covered the lake, but he has no other choice. He treads carefully on the thin ice layer, a major risk in this wilderness. The solitary man stops in the middle of the frozen lake. Using a small axe head, he begins to break a hole, carefully separating the thick ice chunks. Water is the most fundamental survival element. The traveler puts the ice chunks into the black bag and climbs back up the slope. Having overcome the danger, the man crawls into the bunker and places his bounty next to the fire trench, where it will melt into precious warm water. The man focuses on collecting dry grass, filling the sleeping area to create a warm and insulating mattress. Then, the builder begins arranging the stone lining for the fire pit. This is the key detail. The smoke duct will run underneath the sleeping platform, separated by a layer of mud, straw, and dry grass. This system transforms the entire sleeping area into a warm bed, helping the solitary man easily withstand the bitter cold of the winter night. The builder tackles the most complex technical phase. He carefully places flat stones over the fire trench, creating a sealed smoke duct. Then, he uses mud and clay to mortar every gap between the slabs. This system must be perfectly sealed. Only when the heat duct is absolutely protected can the man safely enjoy the warmth radiating through the earth all night. The builder continues to carefully seal the last gaps inside the bunker, particularly around the smoke vent. Then, he carries clay and dry grass outside to mix mortar. This mortar is used to build the chimney opening on the mound. He places large stones on top, securing it firmly. This reinforcement prevents collapse and ensures effective smoke exhaust, completing the heating system. The builder patiently arranges the rough stone blocks, using mud to seal every gap to create a solid chimney. This chimney must withstand strong winds and high temperatures, ensuring the fire pit below is not obstructed. His hands are covered in mud, demonstrating the toil of the work. As the man straightens up, sharp ice crystals have covered the chimney opening, signaling that the night temperature will be extremely dangerous. The builder focuses on finishing the cooking area above the fire trench. He uses stone and mud to build a round stove opening, where the pot will be placed to absorb maximum heat. Simultaneously, he needs food. The traveler skillfully weaves small branches into a simple but effective snare trap. This is the solitary man's last hope for securing food as night quickly descends. The builder begins crafting a lid for the fire pit. He weaves flexible branches into a frame, then seals it with thick mud. This lid will help keep the coals hot and control the fire. After organizing his tools neatly, he leaves the bunker in the twilight. The solitary man continues his search for dry firewood, and luckily finds a few ripe red wild berries on a thorny bush, a precious source of vitamins before the night. The man saws and splits dry branches into manageable firewood, ensuring he has enough fuel for the entire night. He carries the wood into the bunker, placing it neatly beside the fire trench. The builder has completed his construction. Before it gets completely dark, he begins feeding the tinder into the trench. The first warm light flickers, spreading heat through the smoke duct beneath the bed. The solitary man is ready to face the winter night. The man carefully adds wood to the fire pit, creating an intense flame deep in the earth. He must quickly remove the lingering dampness in the bunker. After siphoning out the dirty water, the builder checks the smoke flow. Moments later, thick smoke billows from the external chimney, confirming the underfloor heating system is operational. In the freezing wilderness, there is now a truly warm sanctuary. Although the fire is burning, the builder knows the bunker still needs a roof. He returns to the frozen lake, where vast quantities of dry reeds grow tall. The man uses a sharp saw to cut large bundles, carrying them stacked on his shoulder. He crosses the thin ice layer back towards the construction site. These reeds will create a perfect insulating layer, preventing moisture and snow from covering the bunker. The builder arranges the large reed bundles into flat insulating sections. He needs light, dry material for the sleeping area. Below, the fire is still blazing hot. Then, he brings 2 long logs into the bunker. The man carefully places them parallel, creating the raised bed frame directly above the smoke trench. This wooden layer will keep the grass bedding dry and soft, and optimize the warmth radiating up from the earth. The builder patiently processes each dry reed bundle. He ties them into firm, flat mats to spread over the wooden frame. This meticulousness is necessary to create a soft surface that is completely moisture-proof. Each reed mat is placed tightly against the next. Finally, the man sits down to test the result. His loyal dogs immediately jump up, enjoying the warmth of the finished sleeping platform. Enjoying a brief warm moment with his companions, the man quickly returns to the work of life and death. He places the long logs onto the mouth of the bunker to act as the load-bearing frame for the roof. This work demands high precision. Then, the builder begins spreading the tied reed mats over the wooden frame. This reed layer is the first layer of insulation, tasked with protecting the sanctuary from wind and bitter cold frost. The builder begins the final waterproofing stage. He uses mud and clay to plaster a thick layer onto the reed roof, then covers it with loose earth to increase insulation. The man ensures the roof is sturdy before moving on to the crucial task. He pours clean water from the melted ice block into the pot. After a full day of labor, the solitary man can finally cook his first meal inside his warm bunker. The man opens the fire pit lid. The bright red coals provide stable heat. He places the pot of water over the stove opening, and after just a few minutes, the water is vigorously boiling. The builder performs a final check of the roof. The ceiling is sealed. Water cannot seep through. The bunker is completely dry and warm. Afterward, he goes back outside, using the curved saw to cut the last small pieces of wood, preparing to reinforce the bunker door before true night descends. Inside the bunker, the water is boiling fiercely on the stone stove, and heat permeates the sleeping area. The man carefully adds his precious food portion to the pot. Simultaneously, he focuses outside, using twine to tie sticks onto the reed mat, crafting the final sturdy bunker door. The meal is ready. The solitary man sits on the warm bed platform, stirring with a spoon, enjoying the reward of a day-long struggle for survival. The man finishes and installs the sturdy reed door onto the main entrance. He uses dry grass and snow to plug every gap, ensuring no cold wind can penetrate. Once the door is sealed, the traveler crawls back inside, carefully placing the mud lid onto the burning stove. This action forces the heat and hot smoke to circulate under the sleeping platform, turning the bunker into a single warm mass. The man executes the final camouflage stage. He covers the large mound of earth with dry grass and straw, blurring the signs of his construction into the natural wilderness. Afterward, the traveler crawls into the bunker for the final time through the narrow entrance. He adds more firewood and seals the fire pit to accumulate heat for the bed platform. Finally, he pulls his backpack in, completely concealed beneath the cold earth, waiting for the morning light. Outside, the man quickly dismantles the temporary shelter. He brings the tarp and rope into the bunker, completing the camouflage. Inside, he spreads a thin blanket over the warm reed platform, carefully settling the dogs in their bed. The traveler's final task is cleaning the cooking utensils. He uses a small brush to wipe away the soot clinging to the pan, ensuring everything is ready for the next day. The next morning, the man uses the retained heat beneath the stove to cook breakfast. He carefully adds fat to the pan, then eggs and a few slices of tomato. This hot meal is a reward for all his efforts. While the solitary man enjoys the warmth, the dog senses the morning light. The traveler allows his companion to leave, starting the new day on the cold hillside. The man divides the scarce food portion for his loyal dogs. In the battle for survival, sharing resources is the most important element. After breakfast, he goes outside to forage for vitamins. The solitary man carefully picks the red wild berries from the thorny bush, a precious source of nutrition. Returning to the bunker, the traveler preps for tomorrow's meal, placing a fresh egg into the intricately carved wooden bowl. The man begins breakfast with a small luxury, making pancakes. He mixes the egg with his stored powdered milk, creating a thin batter. The fired earth stove works efficiently, quickly heating the small pan. He flips the pancake, enjoying the spreading aroma. The solitary man sits on the warm bed platform, feeling secure. Finally, the traveler adds clean water to the pan for cleaning, ready for the next tasks. The meal is finished. He places the pot of water on the stove, brewing himself a cup of hot tea. The man sits quietly, savoring each sip of the warm drink and sharing a piece of the baked pancake with the dogs. After a long day, the warmth from the fire pit and the heated bed brings absolute peace. The solitary man gently arranges his sleeping area, completely relaxing in the safe bunker. Inside the bunker, the man finally rests on the warm bed platform. The firewood smolders, maintaining the perfect temperature. While he sleeps soundly, the world outside is still awake. The infrared camera records a wild fox sniffing around the perimeter. Early in the morning, the solitary man leaves the bunker with the oil lamp, checking the area. A flock of ravens has gathered on the snow, awaiting dawn. If this survival journey has brought you exciting moments and useful knowledge, please hit subscribe so you don't miss the upcoming challenges. All your feedback regarding content, narration style, and technical survival details are invaluable to us, helping us improve and enhance the quality of our production. Thank you sincerely for joining us. We look forward to seeing you in the next episode.